Right now, as you're watching this, there's a voice in your head commenting on what I'm saying. Maybe it's agreeing. Maybe it's skeptical. Maybe it's already planning what to do after this video. But here's what will blow your mind. That voice isn't you. Once you understand what I'm about to show you, you'll never be trapped by your thoughts again. Today we're starting something special. A complete journey through what I call the Alchemy of Purpose. We're beginning with the most fundamental truth that most people never learn. You are not your thoughts. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by overthinking, trapped by anxiety, or like you're constantly battling your own mind, this video is going to change everything. Here's the thing that nobody talks about. Most of us are walking around completely identified with every random thought that pops into our heads. It's like we've forgotten we're the person watching TV and started thinking we are the TV show. Think about your morning routine. You wake up, and before you even fully open your eyes, your mind is already going, "Ugh, I don't want to get up. I have so much to do. Did I mess up that thing yesterday? What if people think I'm incompetent?" And here's where it gets dangerous. Instead of recognizing these as just thoughts passing through, we absorb them, we become them. That thought, "I'm not good enough," doesn't stay as just a thought. It becomes, "I'm not good enough." We turn temporary mental weather into our permanent identity. This is what I call thought absorption, and it's the root of most human suffering. We're not suffering from our circumstances. We're suffering from our unconscious identification with every story our mind tells us. The ancient Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius, while running an empire and dealing with plagues and wars, wrote in his personal journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But here's what most people miss. He wasn't just talking about external events. He was talking about the events happening inside your head, the thoughts, the emotions, the mental storms that feel so real and so urgent. Let me share something that completely changed my perspective. A few months ago, I was working on a project and made this embarrassing mistake. Immediately, my inner critic went wild. "You're such an idiot. Everyone's going to think you're incompetent. You always mess things up. Maybe you should just quit." Now, the old me would have completely bought into that story. I would have spent days in a shame spiral, probably would have avoided people, maybe even sabotaged the project because I was so convinced I was a failure. But because I've learned what I'm about to teach you, something different happened. I caught myself in the act. I was like, whoa, hold up. That's just my inner critic having a field day. That's not actually true about who I am. I could see the thought without becoming the thought. And you know what happened? The whole emotional charge just disappeared. I fixed the mistake, learned from it, and moved on. No drama, no spiral, no 3-day pity party. That's the power of understanding this fundamental truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. Think about it logically. If you can notice that you're thinking, then who's doing the noticing? If you can observe your thoughts, then there must be something beyond the thinking that's doing the observing, right? That something is the real you. Not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the stories your mind creates. The real you is the consciousness behind all of that. What the Stoics called the rational soul, and what we might call the inner witness. This connects to one of the most profound principles in ancient wisdom, the Hermetic principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. But this doesn't mean what most people think it means. Your thoughts do create your reality, but not in some magical think positive and money appears way. Here's how it actually works. Your thoughts shape how you perceive the world. Your perceptions influence your emotions drive your actions, and your actions create your results. So if you're constantly thinking, "I'm not capable," you'll see evidence of that everywhere. You'll interpret neutral situations as confirmation of your inadequacy. You'll hold yourself back from opportunities, you'll show up differently in relationships, and your external world will start to mirror that internal belief. But, and this is huge, once you realize you're not your thoughts, you can start choosing which ones deserve your attention and which ones you can let pass by like clouds in the sky. Your mind is like a garden. Thoughts are like seeds constantly being planted. Some grow into beautiful flowers, thoughts of gratitude, creativity, love, possibility. Others grow into weeds, fear, self-doubt, resentment, limitation. Most people are unconscious gardeners. They let every seed that blows in take root, then wonder why their mental garden is overrun with weeds. But when you understand that you're the gardener, not the garden, everything changes. You become selective about which mental seeds you water with your attention. This is what the ancient alchemists called the beginning of the Nigredo phase, the breaking down of old unconscious patterns. You're dissolving the false identification with thought and beginning to remember who you really are underneath all that mental noise. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, put it perfectly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of our pain comes from thoughts we hold on to too tightly, from mental storms we refuse to let pass. But you can live differently. You can learn to observe without absorbing, to notice without becoming, to watch the weather of your mind without thinking you are the weather. So here's the moment of truth. How do you actually make this shift from being a prisoner of your thoughts to being the master of your mind? I'm going to give you 3 tools that you can start using right now. These aren't just concepts, they're practical techniques that will literally rewire your relationship with your thoughts. Tool number 1, the sacred pause. When you notice a strong thought or emotion arising, especially one that feels urgent or overwhelming, resist the immediate impulse to react. Instead, take a conscious breath and create a moment of space. In that pause, ask yourself 3 questions. What am I actually feeling right now, and why? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? What would my wisest self do in this situation? This pause is where your freedom lives. It's the gap between stimulus and response, and the more you practice creating that gap, the bigger it becomes. Tool number 2, the labeling technique. Instead of saying, I'm anxious or I'm angry, practice saying, I notice anxiety arising or I observe anger present. This subtle shift in language creates psychological distance between you and the emotion. It reminds you that you're not the storm. You're the one watching the storm. The Stoics were masters of this. When Seneca felt anger rising, he wouldn't say, I am angry. He would observe, anger is visiting me, and then decide whether to engage with it or let it pass. Throughout your day, imagine your mind as a vast open sky. Thoughts and emotions are like clouds passing through, some light and wispy, others dark and heavy. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky itself, spacious, unchanging, fundamentally peaceful. Watch the clouds of thought drift across the sky of your awareness. Notice them, acknowledge them, but don't chase them or fight them. Just let them pass naturally, as clouds always do. This trains your inner witness, that part of you that can observe your mental activity without being consumed by it. Let me show you how this works in real life. Say someone criticizes you unfairly. Your mind immediately goes, they don't respect me, I need to defend myself, how dare they say that? In the old pattern of absorption, you would become that thought. You'd be the insulted person. Your peace would collapse. You might say something you'd regret later. But with these tools, something different happens. You notice the thought arising, you feel the surge of defensive energy, but instead of becoming it, you step back and observe it. You might think, there's my ego feeling threatened. There's that familiar pattern of needing external validation. Interesting. From this space of observation, you can choose your response consciously. Maybe you realize the criticism has some merit and you can learn from it. Maybe you recognize it as projection and choose not to take it personally. Maybe you respond with curiosity instead of defensiveness. The key is that you're responding from awareness, not reacting from unconsciousness. Look, this might sound too simple to be life-changing, but sometimes the most profound truths are the simplest ones. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. You are not the storm of mental activity. You are the sky it passes through. This understanding is the foundation of everything we're going to explore in this series. It's the beginning of what the alchemists called the great work, the transformation of your inner world from chaos to clarity, from reaction to response, from unconsciousness to awakened awareness. When you truly get this, not just intellectually but experientially, everything changes. You stop being dragged around by every random thought. You develop what the Stoics called ataraxia, unshakable inner peace. You become the master of your inner world instead of its victim. This is just the first step in your alchemical journey. In the coming videos, we'll explore how to purify these observations, how to integrate this wisdom into creative action, and how to use your transformation in service of something greater than yourself. But for now, your practice is beautifully simple. Remember that you are not your thoughts. You are the consciousness that watches them arise and pass away. If this resonates with you and you're ready to begin your own inner alchemy, subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're going deep over the next 52 weeks. Try these 3 tools I've shared today. Practice the pause, experiment with labeling, spend a few minutes doing the sky meditation. See what shifts in your experience when you stop identifying with every thought that passes through your mind.